Welcome everyone, Questini here with a discussion about Cathay and Caravans and patch 4.0 coming alongside the Shadows of Change DLC. When we got our hands on the DLC as content creators, long before the launch of course, one of the things that people started to notice is that Cathay and Caravans could potentially give you a significant amount of money. I think it was Battlesby that got like 100k from a Caravan. When I saw that, or when someone pointed that out to me, I decided to test things out. And it's related to the Warpstone Desert and the Wuxing Compass. So you would get a significant amount. So I did decide to test that out. And I did also start to get ridiculous caravans. I got as far as high as 400,000 with a caravan cargo being sold. But what was going on and how Creative Assembly could have potentially fixed it in a bit of a different way that might have ended up being better. Now, I do have to say that I do appreciate the people that pointed this out. I do appreciate the comments. I did figure out exactly what was going on, but I would not have figured it out if people hadn't pointed out certain things. I believe there was a comment that was fairly close on the money with regards to what was going on. So to people on Reddit, to people in the comment section that dug into this, that were trying to figure out what was going on, much appreciated. So, what was happening? Well, it relates to the Warpstone Desert and how that functions. So here's what the Warpstone Desert does right now in patch 4.0. Increases the sale value of cargo by 20%, increases the maximum cargo capacity by 20%, and gives you a 1 Lord Recruit rank. Now, what the bug was, originally I thought that was just happening every time you ended the turn, but that turned out to be false, because sometimes it just wouldn't increase. So I thought maybe it's a chance, like a 90% chance or something along those lines. No, that is not the case. And I noticed this as if you, when I was playing campaigns where I was just being very passive, it wouldn't increase. So something else was going on. I figured then that it might have been battles that were increasing this potentially, that were creating that stacking effect. Because when I play campaigns, I tend to play a lot of battles, and any decent player will play a lot of battles throughout their course in a campaign. So it might have been that every single battle was increasing the value over here. That was also not the case. What was happening is that the effect was stacking based on the number of regions you own. So in this case, if I was using this before Creative Assembly fixed it, it would have stacked 14 times because I control 14 regions. But even that was bugged in its own right, because what was also happening is it would instantly increase for based on the number of regions you had in Cathay. But it would take one turn, it would take clicking that enter button one time for it to take into account all the regions you have. Now, this is important for Yan Bo, because Yan Bo in Immortal Empires doesn't start in Cathay. I mean, he has a split start, so you will take territory in Cathay, but you'll also take territory outside of Cathay and Lustria. Now, why exactly this was happening? Well, I believe that the reason this entire bug happened in the first place is because of the way the Warpstone Desert worked before. So the Warpstone Desert, its previous effect, was based on the number of regions in Cathay itself. So that's where the bug started happening. And it was a bug on two levels. It was a bug in the sense that it was increasing based on the number of regions in Cathay, but it was also a bug on a second level because it was also accounting for regions outside of Cathay as opposed to how the compass had previously worked. So you could end up with ridiculous sums of gold. But how is it right now? Well, it no longer functions. So this is a caravan I just sent out towards Transitive Settlement over here. It's got 1,300 cargo over here with the rank 2 Caravan Master. If I were to recruit another caravan, you can see that they're rank 2. So the system is currently working as it should, or as intended. Now, what do I think about this? Well, I think that it's not really worth using, to be quite honest with you. Like, one Lord Recruit rank, 20% cargo, and 20% sale value of cargo is going to net you benefits, to be sure, but I don't really think this is going to be worth using. I think that if you're playing a campaign, you're going to find it very difficult to justify using this as opposed to the Celestial Lake or the Great Bastion, because you obviously want to use the Great Bastion. In fact, when you are starting a campaign, I would strongly recommend using the Great Bastion to begin with, because the Great Bastion is going to give you that recruitment rank, it's going to give you that Ancestral Warriors ability, it's going to give you up to 10% casualty replenishment, and Celestial Lake is going to give you a control benefit, but more importantly, a 15% economic benefit across the board. And that 15% economic benefit is certainly going to be worth more than 20% sale value of cargo, maximum cargo capacity, and Warlord recruit rank. I think this would be more useful if the compass was triggering significantly faster, because really 2 of these benefits are only useful when you're sending out the caravan. Actually, one of them is only useful when you're recruiting a caravan. The other one is only useful when you're sending a caravan, because that's when the cargo is stacked up. So the only benefit that you have beyond that is the sale value of cargo, and even then, that benefit is only valuable when the caravan arrives. So right now, I would certainly argue that with it being fixed, it's not really worth using. I think Creative Assembly, what they could have done, what they had the opportunity to do right here, is they could have taken this compass system and given caravans some kind of scalability. Now, it shouldn't be region-based, because that means you end up with ridiculous levels of value, but they could have made the province-based, so the number of provinces that you have would cause the effect to stack up. That's my personal perspective on that. Let me know what you guys think. Should it be scalable? Should it not be scalable in any way, shape, or form? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But that's my personal perspective on that subject. Now, the question, of course, a lot of people had with respect to this: is this what is causing Cathay, or what has been causing Cathay in the patch, to become such a powerful AI faction, AI-controlled faction? I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because the AI is not really good at utilizing the caravan system in general. Many times, the AI will not send caravans to its full potential even before you take into account the Warpstone Desert and what it can do for your campaign. Let alone what it can do. If it had been utilizing this benefit properly. So I do not believe that the AI was becoming as powerful as it was because of this particular issue. Why do I think the Cathayans are becoming so powerful in patch 4.0? Well, I think it really boils down to the way they changed the harmony system. I've already talked about that, but essentially, the AI has always been the Cathayan AI has always been pretty bad at taking advantage of the various benefits Cathay has. One of the problems that Cathay has, the Cathayan AI has certainly had, is with regards to harmony. So the AI is not really good at utilizing harmony properly, and that is a problem because the AI was obviously losing out on a significant amount of potential. Now, I'm sure the AI at various points would get balanced harmony, but far more often, I imagine, in campaigns previously, the AI was not utilizing that. Even so, despite that particular situation, the Cathayan AI was still capable of becoming a really powerful on the campaign map. Or rather, Xiao Ming was quite capable. Now, that's partly because he has a relatively safe starting position. He doesn't really have to deal with that many issues in the campaign. he does have some legendary lords close to him, specifically Gorst and Greases, but he doesn't necessarily end up fighting them. Or when he does end up fighting them, it's not the case that, oh, Gorst and Greases are attacking him. It's far more likely that he is going to attack either Gorst or Greases, or both even, potentially. But outside of that, like, Snitch can be an issue, but Snitch is always going to fight Miao Ying, and beforehand, the Great Bastion would stand quite tall, so Miao Ying could focus easily on destroying Snitch, basically leaving Lokir to a far lesser extent village for the Cathayan AI to tackle in a campaign. So because of that, the Cathayan AI could become really, really powerful. But what has changed to make it even more powerful than it was before? Well, I think that what has changed is the harmony system. And the way they've changed the harmony system certainly has affected Cathay's ability on the campaign map. Why do I say that? Well, let's take a look at what has changed with regards to the harmony system. So, if you're looking at the harmony system, balanced harmony now gives you 15% income from all buildings and minus 15% upkeep for armies in province. So when Cathay is recruiting armies, assuming they do have balance, and they are still bad at getting balance, but assuming they do get balance, they do get 20% campaign movement range, and they get that minus 15% upkeep and 15% income. Though it is not quite likely that AI will get those kind of benefits. Far more likely that it will either go for yin or yang. Now, yin, if we're looking at what it does, yin 6+, but let's say the AI is not going to get 6+. Let's say it's far more likely that they're going to get either 1 or 2 or 3 to 5 at most. Well, yin gives you growth, construction cost, and control. Now, this is not really too important for the AI because the AI gets these kind of benefits anyway, and they're certainly far more substantial than what it does. The real benefit for the AI is what it gets with yang. And I do believe that there is a yang province, yes. Like Miao Ying, for instance, here has a bit of yang in this particular province, in her starting province. She's also just very slightly over here in the land of stone and steel in favor of yang. But yang is quite powerful, and I think it's powerful from the perspective of the AI. So if we're looking at yang 1 to 2, it's getting minus 10% recruitment cost, which is not really too important. Again, the AI gets a lot of benefits with respect to this, but what is important is recruit rank +1, recruit capacity +1. Now, I'm not sure how the recruit capacity works for the AI. It could be that it gets a couple of extra recruitment slots, so +1 is nice, right? Regardless. But +1 recruit rank means, like, the yang benefits in particular are fairly substantial for the AI. Because it means the AI is going to end up recruiting armies faster in their campaign, cheaper, and with a higher rank. And this starts stacking up, especially when you start seeing massive AI empires. This starts becoming a real problem because you then have the situation where Cathay just ends up recruiting a ridiculous large number of armies very, very quickly, as you've seen in my videos on the Changeling, if you've watched those. So you end up with an AI that just starts steamrolling. Now, of course, another benefit to the AI is that Cathay has heavily armored armies that are quite good in general in terms of out-resolve, and that is certainly helping the AI get an advantage against its opponents on the campaign map. Especially because the only faction that is in Cathay that might match Cathay in terms of the armor of its units and implicitly its out-resolve result is Lokir. And not necessarily so, I might add, because Lokir may not recruit the Black Ark Corsairs, though he has a tendency of doing so because he does start with the Black Ark, and he's certainly focused on the Black Ark Corsairs. But what that does mean, Cathay is far more likely to end up with heavily armored units, which does certainly help their situation on the campaign map. it wasn't the Caravan system that the AI was taking advantage of in patch 4.0 up until this point where they fixed it. It was really the other things that the AI was taking advantage of. Because the reason I say they weren't taking advantage of the caravans is because I've looked at quite a lot of caravans in patch 4.0 to try and figure this out, and I did not see the AI coming anywhere close to the potential of these caravans. Now, maybe they had the compass on, and maybe they were getting the sale value and the Lord Recruit rank, but what they weren't really using was the main benefit, of course, of this, which was the vastly increased cargo capacity that the system was offering. So that wasn't happening for the AI over here. They might have benefited from the sale value, but that just means really that at most, I think, based on the caravans I was seeing, at most, even if they had a large number of territory, and keep in mind the AI doesn't necessarily take a lot of territory, but even if they had a significant amount of territory, they weren't, they might have gotten at most something like a 10k from a caravan. Now 10k sounds a lot, but remember it does take quite a few turns for a caravan to do, so you're looking at maybe 1k per turn from a caravan that the AI factions were getting over there. So bear in mind when you're talking about this. So I don't think it was the caravans that were giving the AI a significant advantage. I guess we will see. I might be proven wrong. I might be proven completely wrong on that. It might have really been the caravans that were giving that advantage, but I don't necessarily think so. That is my perspective. Costin here signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Stay tuned for more. I think it would have been nice if they had the system based on the province scaling, based on the number of provinces you're controlling. I think that would have made it far better, because it gives the scalability. It gives caravans the scalability that they currently lack in the end game. Because caravans are, of course, very useful to use in a campaign early on, because it gives you that extra money, right? So I recruit the caravan, I increase cargo capacity, I send it out, right? And that gives me thousands of gold. But later on, when you have a very large economy, it's not even worth it to send it, because, especially if you feel like you're going to lose it. So what would happen in Realms of Chaos when the game originally came out, especially as you were getting the demonic invasions, caravans just flat out not worth using after like turn 40 or so. Maybe a bit lower, but like certainly after like the first demon wave started appearing, caravans became less and less useful. Now you don't have that demonic situation in Immortal Empires, but you do have large AI empires being created that will be willing to declare war against you at any particular point of your campaign. So caravans just aren't really worth using all that much, I'd argue, like past a certain point. They're a great early game, but they do need some kind of scalability from my perspective in the late game. In the Warpstone Desert, if they had changed it in such a way to give some kind of scalability as opposed to just a flat 20% bonus and one recruit rank, could have done so. But as it stands, there's just no reason to use it. Costin here, signing out.